And that's the time that I was almost offloaded. I said, oh my gosh, thank you so much. It's going to be all worth it. I swear to God, you are going to be very happy. Namaste everyone, good day to all of you. So for this video, I'm finally filming my Philippine Immigration interview when I flew from Philippines to India last May 29 of 2021. So I have one tip for you in order for you to really answer immigration questions under pressure. One thing is that it would be really helpful if you are the one doing all of your papers and not just depend on agencies. When you are doing all of your papers, you are already under pressure during those times. So that means you have a lot more experience with replying to questions under pressure. So it would really help you when you're already in the Bureau of Immigration and they're asking you a lot of hard questions about your travel. So you really need to be prepared for that. And like I said, it would really help if you're the one doing all of your papers because you have more experience. So let's start my story by the time that I went inside the airport. I went inside the airport. The flying Emirates is still closed, but after some time they opened and they let everybody in queue to check your papers if you are really allowed to board the plane. So we were in queue, and at first checking, my papers are all okay. They just asked me that, what are you gonna do in India? And I said, I'm going to marry my fiance in India. And that's it. I gave her my ticket, my visa and passport, and then my air suvidha, which is so important because it's self-declaration that you don't have any COVID, and also the Bureau of Immigration self-declaration form. So those are the things that they will ask you when you are in your first checking upon flying here to India. So after that, we went to the counter for our check-in to check in our baggage, and then that time there's a little bit complication because the person there at the counter, I showed her all of my papers that I showed from the first checking of papers, and then she asked me if I'm married, and I said no, I'm not married yet, but I will go to India and marry my fiance. And then she had some questions about that, so she asked a person which is in higher position, I guess, about my visa, and it took some time. I was there standing and waiting, and I got really nervous because why is she not giving me my boarding pass when I have all of the papers and my visa is okay? But in the end, she finally gave me my boarding pass. That is it for my first hurdle. I was really happy that I was able to finish it. And then after that, I wrote something for Bureau of Immigration, something like you fill up your passport, your name, and the address that you're going to stay in when you arrive in India. So that's it. And then after that, we went inside for the immigration. The queue was a lot. There are a lot of people and we are all waiting. I was so nervous because I have not told you about this, guys, but last 2019 of June, I got offloaded. I was really nervous about that in case they see that record and I'm gonna be screwed because there are some stuff that I did not get during that time, and it's just like complicated, and everything, my trauma during that day just comes back, and I'm scared that trauma will hinder me in answering questions from the Bureau of Immigration officer. There are a lot of immigration officer, and as for you, you can choose which immigration officer you think is kind and is good. So you can really check them. Even though they have mask, I think you can really feel which ones are good or not. You can wait in your queue and just see each immigration officer and just think to yourself, which one are you gonna approach? So by that time, the person that I approached is a man. He was straight from the queue. There are a lot of immigration officers that are there, but I was really nervous and I really don't know what to do. I was so nervous during that time because of the question. So I stand there and then I just went straight to the Philippine immigration officer that is in front of me. I give him my boarding pass, my passport, my air suvidha, my Bureau of Immigration self-declaration form and my COVID-19 test negative. So I give it to him, and then he told me that, why are you going to India? And I said, I'm going to India because I'm going to marry my fiance. And then she was clicking something on the computer, and then he told me, my gosh, and then he told me that you tried going to India in the past, right? And I said, yes. Who were you planning to visit during that time? And I said, a friend, which is my fiance. Okay, but you put some stuff here, which is, I don't know what it is, but he said, you put some stuff here, and then he took my boarding pass, he put it on his table, and then he got my passport, and then he said, okay, I need you to go at the back and have your papers checked by the immigration officer at the back. So last time when I got offloaded, I was also sent at the back. When you go to the immigration, there are some booths there, and each booth have 2 immigration officer. And if they send you at the back, that means you have some complications in your paper, or that the immigration officer from the back will check for you. I went inside. I was so nervous because last time when I got offloaded, I was also sent in that place. And the lady that interviewed me is so strict. She's already shouting at me by the time that I sit down. And I was like, I did not even do anything and you're shouting at me. The lady there, they gave me a paper to fill up, like my name of my fiance, his address, the budget that we have for our papers or the plane tickets, the money that I have in cash, and all of those other questions, and the bank statement and all of those things. So I filled it up. After that, I went to the Bureau of Immigration officer who is holding my passport. By the time that I sit there, she asked me, what is the reason that you're going to India? And I said, I'm going to marry my fiance. And she said, can I see the papers? So I give her all of the papers that we have, the affidavit of support, my CFO, and all of those other things that we got for my trip. So she asked me about the affidavit of support, and then she said that your affidavit of support is wrong. This should be signed by the Philippine Immigration in India. And I said, no, I don't really think so. I think this is the paper that I really need to show to you. And then she said, no, you really need a sign from the Philippine Embassy in India. And I said, no, this is the paper that my fiancé got. I think this is the paper that you really need. And then she said that, no ma'am, you really need the affidavit of support signed from the Philippine Embassy in India. And I said, can you please check? I told her, can you please check? I think there's something there that will prove that this paper is enough for you to see. And then after some time, she looked at the paper, she went to a computer, she was typing stuff there, and after that, she went back. And she did not ask me about the affidavit of support because I think that she had a mistake, so she did not tell me about it anymore. Because if you have affidavit of support, you don't really need the sign from the Philippine Embassy here in India, because you only need a stamp or sign from the Indian Embassy here in India. And my fiancé sent me a link about that, and that is it. It's really true that you don't need sign from Philippine Embassy in India. So after that, she asked me about my CFO. I showed her the CFO, and that's the time that I was almost offloaded. When I have my CFO seminar last 2019, my papers were not complete. So I don't have the bachelorhood proof from my fiancé. So on November, when I did my CFO, I went back on February of the next year in 2020. And since I have the bachelorhood proof from my fiancé, I went back to Cebu and got my CFO, and I got this paper that they gave to me. And then I thought that everything is going to be okay when I have that paper, because they said that this is it, this is the certificate, this is what you need to show to the immigration, something like that. And then when I was at the immigration, she said that, I'm sorry ma'am, but your paper, your CFO is not the one that we need here. You need to sign up online before your departure to India. After that, they will send you a paper, like a certificate paper, and then that is the paper that you need to show to us. And I told her, I was really under pressure, I was shaking, I was very nervous, and I told her that, can I please try and sign in now? If it's possible. It was 9 p.m. in the Philippines that time, or like 10 p.m. And she said, okay, you can try. And so I tried it. I opened the website and I tried to sign in. And then it says that they are only open from Mondays to Fridays or Thursdays. And then it's only like 8 to 4 p.m. something like that. But it's not at night. It's not available at night. So I showed her my phone and then I told her that it says that I cannot register now. What do I do? I told her. And then she said, okay, it's okay, let's proceed. She said, do you have pictures when you were together, when he came here to the Philippines? And I said, yes, wait a minute. So since I have my data, I opened my Google Photos and then I showed her our engagement pictures. So I showed her my phone, she took it, and then she was asking me questions like, oh, what is this picture about? And I told her that this is our engagement ceremony here in the Philippines. And then she said, when was that? And I told her November of 2019. And then she said that, oh really, that is really nice. And then she said, can I take photo for proof that I can attach to your paper? And I said, sure, go ahead. So she took photo of my phone of our engagement celebration. And then she told me that, do you have any physical copy or hard copy with you of your pictures together? And I have only one picture that we have together, and that is our picture when we were in Buhay, Lubok, floating cottage, and that's it. I give it to her and she said, can I have this? Because I need this to compile this together with your other papers. And I said, okay, sure, you can get it. And she said, okay. And then after some time she told me, you don't have CFO certificate and you really need your CFO sticker in case you fly to India, or your CFO certificate in case you fly to India. And I was really disappointed that time. I really thought that I will get offloaded again and all of the trauma is gonna come back to me again. And I just feel like crying, but no, I did not cry. I tried to keep my composure and then told her, okay, so what do I do so I can fly? Because my fiance told me that if I got offloaded during that time, after 3 days we will try again with all of the papers again. We will try again and again until I fly here in India. And then the lady told me that since you have proof of your relationship, you have the engagement, you have all of the other papers, I will consider you to go. I was really so happy. I did not really expect it. Though even before I already have my instinct telling me that, hey, you can really go to India this time. But during that time, everything I just felt freedom. And then she did something, she wrote something on the paper. It said that, okay, you get this, your passport, your paper, that she wrote something, and then you give this to the first immigration officer that you went to because he had my boarding pass. She finally let me go. She said that you get this passport with your visa and then this paper, and then you give this to the first immigration officer that you went to the first time. So I went in queue again and I went to that first immigration officer that I went to. He checked my papers and then he took some of my papers, and then there is the picture there and there is some stuff there, and then he did something to his computer, and then he asked that lady, the immigration officer that interviewed me, and then she put her thumb mark, and then after that they stamped my freaking passport. After that I got my passport. He gave me my papers back, some of them, and then I went back to that immigration officer and then I told her, is this okay? And she said, is there a stamp there? I looked for the stamp because I cannot really see it, it's so hard to see. And then I said, yes, I have it. And then she said, okay, you can go and board your plane. I said, oh my gosh, thank you so much. And by that time I was walking because there is another queue for like going out there of the immigration. So I was in queue and I was crying. I was so freaking happy. I never expected it in my whole life that I'm going to fly to India alone, and even during pandemic. I'm able to go to India during lockdown for the first time and I'm alone. What? I cannot believe it. Now I still can't believe it. I'm already like 1 week here in India and I feel like it's still a dream. I just can't believe it that I'm eating Indian food, that I'm with my fiance and I'm communicating with his family. I'm trying a lot of Indian stuff and I'm trying kurta and everything. I just can't believe it. It seems so surreal. You know what? I know the struggle. I know what you are all struggling because we have been there. We tried so hard since 2018 till May 29 just for me to be here in India. We tried a lot. We spent a lot. I went to freaking Cebu alone just to get my papers. I went to Manila alone just to get some of my papers. And I went to a lot of places alone just for me to get all of my papers. I went to Cebu twice just to get my freaking CFO, and I was freaking alone during that time. I was alone like in the place that I stayed. I was alone during that time, but those times helped me to gain some courage for me to face the immigration officer and answer their questions under pressure. I did it because of all of those hard work that we did, all of those hard work that I did alone. If it were not for them, I would not be able to answer the immigration officer. Because before I met my fiance, I was really super shy and I cannot even face other people and ask people and argue with people. But I just want to tell you guys that all of your hard work and all of the things that you sacrificed and all of the things that you did to be together is going to be worth it when you are going to be together. Don't think that, hey, it's taking us so long to be together. We waited 1 year, we waited 3 years, we waited 2 years. But if you really love each other and you are really patient just to be with each other, then everything will be worth it. Everything, you will just forget everything. We waited so long for this day to come. Everything becomes worth it. It doesn't matter what you did in the past, what you sacrificed, all of the things that you did, everything is going to be worth it. I'm going to tell this to you again and again, that all of your hardships and your patience and everything that you did throughout your journey, how many years you've waited just to be with each other, it's going to be all worth it. If you're willing to do all of this, I swear to God, you are going to be very happy. I wish you all the best, and I send all of my prayers to all of you who are watching this. You will be with your loved ones. So that's it for this video, guys. I know it's very long because I'm very chatty, but this is all that I experienced and my tips for all of you. And I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you learned something. And see you on my next video. Bye-bye.